Exploring the unknown, from conspiracies to mysteries, you are entering the conspiracy sector.
Well, welcome everyone to this very special program. It's a jolly time of the year, and I'm your host, Aubrey Batchelor. Sailing this amazing ship of knowledge with me is Chris Jacobs. You are on Santa's sleigh, and you are entering the conspiracy sector. Well, Chris, we have reached the time of year again. I can't believe we're coming to the end of yet another year. It's gone by like that, snap of a finger yet again.
Mm-hmm.
If I recollect, this is our second conspiracy sector Christmas shebang.
Oh yeah, the Krampus Claus Christmas was the other one.
I can't believe it. It feels like we were just talking about it yesterday, and it's been 12 months ago. And yeah, who doesn't love good Krampus? And everybody needs to go back and listen to that episode too. It's a perfect time of year. And Krampus, that was just a special episode. It's one I'll never forget.
Yeah, that was definitely special. Not everybody touches on Krampus, so yeah.
Well, and then have that be the first, kind of Christmas episode, especially, for the topic, it was just a good episode. So if you're interested in it, go back and listen to that episode. Should be probably the second or third episode of Conspiracy Sector, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
We started
third one, yeah.
When we started, if you're a newer viewer, when we started Conspiracy Sector, we wanted to get into the holidays and do holiday specials. Kind of similar to we were joking around like the holiday specials that South Park does, but we wanted a serious,
serious version of that.
Yeah, version of it. So here we are once again. I hope everybody gets some good presents this year and no coal. But today we got a pretty good show lined up for you. We're going to be talking about some Christmas lore and legends and bob and weave some jolly good old stories and information for you. You got any big plans this year for Christmas, Chris?
No, not really. We're just going and eating Christmas dinner and all that over at my mother and my stepfather's place. So like we did for Thanksgiving, it's nothing huge or extravagant.
Same. We're just kind of hanging out this year and just gonna pass the times and together and just have a little bit of fun doing whatever, probably ride with the times and see what happens. Well, we get into it. I'll right away. I want to talk about the legend of the mistletoe. And let me get into it here. So, can you see me, Chris?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. This is an article from a cool little website. They dive into a lot of Christmas lore and legends, and other holidays for that fact. They're just cool little tidbit informations of lore and legend behind certain holidays. And who doesn't love a good old mistletoe? We have all heard of mistletoe legends. Have you ever gotten a kiss underneath one? Have you, Chris?
No, not
particularly. Under a mistletoe. Yeah. I can't remember if I have or not. I think I may have one time in high school. It was like somebody yelling, "You two are under the mistletoe, spot on the thing," sort of video. I think Mariah and I may have one time.
Technically, it's a poison. You can't eat it though. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I make a tea out of it. Yeah, here, honey, try this tea. Yeah. But the legend of the mistletoe, Christmas is celebrated all around the world on the 25th of December. And this article comes from indobase.com. That's the website. It's a birth anniversary of our Lord Jesus, Anno Domini Nostri Jesu Christi. There are many things that are associated with Christmas, like the Christmas tree, the nativity scenes, the warm fireplace, and the mistletoe. It is a season of love and warmth. The spirit of Christmas is celebrated with family and friends with loads of gifts and Christmas cheer. One of the most important symbols of love, of course, is the mistletoe. There are different legends about this particular plant, and it is held dear by both the Celts and the North Druids. You remember, Chris, when we were talking about the Celtic lore and everything along that line, we were talking about plants like, mistletoe. I don't know if we, mentioned the mistletoe, but can't believe we forgot about it. That's the glorious thing when it comes to some of these plants. Like we were joking about the poison. Certain plants that hold this lore and legend and mystique and utilization. They're they almost create their own fame in a way. That's kind of weird to say that a plant creates fame, but I'd say
around itself. Yeah.
this mistletoe would probably be one of the top, I'd say 30 plants that have created fame for itself for remembrance.
Wolf's Bane is another one.
Oh yeah, and some of the sprays and stuff that you make with Wolf's Bane and everything along that line. Oh yeah. Make pretty good stuff. Chris sent me his Christmas package this year. We always exchange gifts through the mail, and got some good stuff in there. My Christmas tree is doused in it out there right now, so it's very seasonal too. Palo Santo.
Sage Palo Santo sprays and stuff like that. Yeah. And the Wolf's Bane one I do for land clearings, and that's, I said, another one that has its own mystique, like mistletoe around it. I wonder if mistletoe is more of a clearer. We'll have to ask who comes in a little while, but if that's a good clearing agent.
Get some clarification.
Yeah, get some clarification. Yeah.
Like they're saying, one of the most important symbols of love, and some of us have had that peck. There are different legends about this particular plant, and it is held dear by both the Celts and the North Druids. So mistletoe is also said to have medicinal properties in folklore. It was used as a cure for headaches and even toothaches. It has been known as the golden bow by many, and it was used for toothaches. Like I said, it's poisonous, like Chris is saying, but the poison actually, can numb you out a little bit, won't kill you, just rubbed on your skin. Basically, you're not ingesting it. So you just rub whatever on your, gums or tooth or whatnot.
Nightshades that way too for the eyes and for like pain and such. A little bit will help you, a lot will kill you. So.
Might be able to chew on it a little bit without swallowing. I'm not telling you to do it, but certain plants and things along that. Now, I didn't know enough about mistletoe, particularly when it comes to medicinal, alchemical. You remember all the alchemical usage for plants, and mistletoe probably has been dabbled with by mad alchemical engineers throughout history. But kissing under the mistletoe is a popular belief. How many of us really know the story, though? Read on to find out more about this amazing legend. Kissing under the mistletoe, the symbol of love. In Norse, the legend behind kissing under the mistletoe comes from Norse mythology. It is said that there was a god named Balder. He had a premonition about his death, and he knew he was going to be murdered. His mother, Frigg, was worried about this and made every living thing promise that they would not kill her son. The only thing that she left out was the mistletoe. Loki, an evil god who knew about this, wanted to exploit this opportunity, attending an assembly in Valhalla, where all the gods were taking turns in shooting arrows at Baldur for fun. They were in awe when they saw that nothing could harm him. Loki handed Holder, Baldur's blind brother, an arrow made from a mistletoe and asked him to take a shot at Loki too. This arrow killed Baldur. For 3 days after his death, every living thing came to revive him, but failed. Finally, he was revived by Frigg and the mistletoe itself. Frigg's tears became little white berries on the mistletoe plant, and she said that anyone who stood under the mistletoe would never be harmed and would be entitled to a kiss. Mwah. There are many different endings to the legend. One says that Baldur was never revived and was given a Viking's funeral, and people are waiting for him to come back and reign in a new era. But whatever the version, the common fact is that Frigg swore that the mistletoe would never harm anyone and made it a symbol of love. So that's pretty cool. In Greek, kissing under the mistletoe was associated with the first Greeks. They used to do this during the festival of Saturnalia and even marriages. This probably arose from the belief that mistletoe was associated with fertility. So they thought that, it increased your likelihood to have children. In Scandinavian lore, the mistletoe was known as a plant of peace. Peace. If one stood under a sprig of mistletoe, it was said the enemies could call a truce, and married couples who were fighting could kiss and resolve their issues. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Mm-hmm.
That magical little wand this thing is. In France, kissing under the mistletoe was reserved for New Year's Day. It was called August Agneau, which literally means mistletoe for the new year. England. In 18th century England, people came up with a fancy version of the mistletoe known as a kissing ball. The kissing ball was made from a ball of mistletoe covered with ribbons and ornaments. A woman who stood under this could not refuse a kiss. If kissed, she was bound to marry the person who kissed her or have a lifelong friendship with them. If no one kissed a girl standing under the kissing ball, it was said that she would not be married through the rest of the year. Huh. Kind of interesting. The different beliefs of the mistletoe, known as a magical and sacred plant in European folklore, it was said that it was bestowed life and fertility and offered protection against poison. The mistletoe was also a popular aphrodisiac, so offers protection against poison. So it's kind of like Ayurvedic medicine cures like cures, poison to repel a poison sort of video. To the Celts, to the Celts, the mistletoe that grew on oak trees was precious and sacred. They used a sickle made of gold to cut it down and were extremely careful about even letting it touch the ground, lest it lost its magical properties. Mistletoe has been seen as a sexual symbol in the soul of an oak tree. People collected mistletoe during summer and winter solstice and decorated their houses with it during Christmas, like still do now. And see, that's the weird thing, when it comes to items like mistletoe that have been used in more of a traditional purpose. It seems like people have forgotten a lot of these traditions, and Christmas itself has a lot of lost traditions that aren't celebrated anymore. Now the only tradition is Santa left you gifts, and imaginary Santa Claus left you gifts and opened up your presents. That's the only thing, really.
And that has its origin in Scandinavian and Norse mythology as well, where instead of Santa Claus and his 8 reindeer and also the elves building toys, it was Odin with the 8-legged horse and his dwarves building things like weapons for the gods. So it converted over, and then you added Saint Nicholas in there with his story of like the dowry and all of that, and you merge in Saturnalia, which you just mentioned, became basically the festival of the Romans as well, and that was the worship of Saturn. Ironically, Saturn became the word Satan, but so after a while, but that's why people associate Christmas. People associate with all the old pagan rites, but it was piecemealed from a lot of these different sources to create Christmas, and eventually just became the worship of Jesus, where all these came in and focused on one thing, and that's how some of the religions break down into all these. They break down from these religions into one. And then you managed to scare the crap out of me doing that, but okay. But yeah, that's how that broke down, and I could see Isaac was telling me in the background something about mistletoe, where it was the poison would also make somebody more receptive to sexual encounters too. So that he said the poison can do that too, can numb their brain a little bit. So not necessarily kill them, except in large quantities. In a small quantity, it can make them kind of drunk. So then I heard him say that, so that was added. That the more negative side was added in there. And I thought that's interesting. But yeah, some of the origins of Christmas would surprise people. One would be Saturnalia, the other would be Odin as Santa Claus.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That's what information a lot of people probably don't know about, I would imagine. And see, that's what I feel like people need to talk about more. So that's kind of the reason why we chose to do Krampus as well, because Christmas is a time of lore and legend and remembrance and mystique and tradition and celebration and everything along that line. But a lot of tradition is being lost to dust in the wind. See you later, adios, history. Some of it right now.
And also the Christmas tree many people think it was created later, but designs for this were also like the Tree of Life in Scandinavian mythology. Yggdrasil, the Tree of Life, where Odin basically gave up his eye to the tree, essentially. And you have also even further back Sumerian mythology with the Anunnaki, and they have the tree that they're working on. It's essentially was like a genetic map of the human genome that they were creating. But you could see like this tree that looked like it had ornaments hanging from it, and the Jewish Tree of Life, where it has like these looks like these symbols and ornaments hanging from it. So yeah, so there's many different origins. There's like a multitude of different origins for things we use in Christmas time.
Interesting. Just to finish this up, Christmas is a time of love and cheer, as well. And why not to go out and kiss your loved one under that special sprig of mistletoe? After all, now you know the legends associated with it, and they all have to reciprocate the kiss with love. Come, Chris, would you like to talk about Old Saint Nick?
Yeah, what was actually quite interesting. This happened many years ago when we were still in North Carolina several years ago, and there was a channeling that came through from some dwarves that came through that said they were basically they turned into what we call Santa's like elves. That's where I originally found out, and I did more historical research after that, and ended up being true. But what one of them said that they just said Santa Claus himself was one of these dwarven beings, like Saint Nicholas. They said was one of these that they said they would these dwarves said they would periodically go into human villages and stuff like that and leave gifts for people. And gnomes and also dwarves and stuff have been known to leave stuff for people. Like elementals have been known to leave stuff for people. So that is actually true. This links back to the elemental realm as well. And there's these dwarves come from a place they call the world of wheels, or I call it the Da Vincian or steampunk type world, because it has that design to it. And I found out where Da Vinci was getting his information from as well. That and time travel. When he disappeared in the cave for 2 years, he went through history looking through the
weird.
Yeah, I found out he actually time traveled and saw all that was going to come after, and he wrote it down in his journals. But he was part of that society too.
If only we could read through their journals, people like him, and see what they're and people. One that comes to mind for me is Tesla. Obviously his private writings. A lot of it's been saved, but brilliant people.
Yeah, but the thing of it is back to like Santa. I called them the Santa Claus people at first, because when I saw this, they had these little ships that were no bigger than a car that would park in between, or a little mini Cooper or something that would park in between houses and leave gifts. And I was thinking, okay, that must be where they got the idea for Santa's sleigh from, because it was just a little like craft that they would kind of float around in.
And people might think that sounds crazy, but you know what I think that I call that possibly, if that technology could be found. There's weird objects that have been found like that. I call them oops artifacts. Stands for out of place artifacts. Things like the London hammer that was found in London, Texas. What 2 million year old strata? It's a hammer inside of this 2 million year old strata. That wood's so old that it's beginning to become coal.
and stone, basically. It's petrifying.
And what's another good oops artifact? The time gear that was found.
It would basically measure the turning of the seasons and stuff like that. Yeah.
What would be another oops artifact? The time travel device. What the hell is this object? We have no idea, and we don't understand the purpose in modern day. Well then, how the hell was he doing it 300 years ago?
Yeah, and I found out. Yeah, a lot of those. Like we found out on the previous episode we did, where some of those images made it into history as far as time travel goes, where it was planted in different parts of history. Like I found out some of the cuneiform tablets that were made that talked about some things later on were plants in history as well by different alien groups. So yeah, that they had the ability to manipulate the timeline. Eventually, certain groups outlawed it out there, but humans still use it even now. So some aliens taught it to us, and that's where we get Montauk and stuff like that from. So. But I know that went off the mark for Christmas. But yeah, they influence things in the Christmas story as well. So
Montauk. You remember the Montauk beast that was found on the beach?
oh yeah, that creepy creature that washed up.
And,
Yeah, that's
did that happen around did that happen around Christmas time?
I don't.
Let
I'm
me
not sure.
see
I think
real
it was. I
quick.
think it was cold when it happened. But I found out those were things like that were experiments that kind of washed up on the shore. Things they either discarded or somebody wanted somebody to see something that was going on, like a genetic experiment. And these governments, these corporations do things in bases where they genetically experiment by splicing genes and all that other stuff. Talk about a creepy Christmas story. You could.
Well, I not to interrupt, I just looked it up real quick. It did happen in Christmas in July.
Christmas in July. Okay.
It happened
Technically, still kind of
July
Christmas.
23rd. Yeah, everybody. Fuck, it goes by so quick, time does. It's like July was 6 months ago, and then boom. I was just firing off fireworks, which I think I'm gonna have to on New Year's and just say screw it, not give a damn. Fire off one, or two, and
Yeah,
who the
yeah.
hell knows?
Yeah, what I also found interesting was this has actually happened yesterday. Talk about a Christmas type thing. I've been getting more into the elemental side of things, looking into like different fairy types and different gnome types and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And there's also a concept where a certain element will then become a sentient species. After a while, it'll evolve into a sentient species. One of which was the essence of water. And basically referring back to like the movie The Abyss, with the tubular water and everything. Well, this was more of an essence of ice and snow. And Isaac made fun of the person and said this was the princess from Frozen and all this other stuff. But it was like, but the being looked nothing like that. But it was like this like pale skin, Caucasian skin, looked like a frozen icicle essentially. And I thought this was very interesting. It also had its origins in Scandinavian mythology as well. It keeps going back to Norse mythology constantly. I keep tracing all the origins back to like Odin and Thor and all of them. And this being looked pretty much like it was. She was a fairy. She's a fairy, but the essence of like the ice and snow and frozen environments.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the ability to go from the actual element itself and form into their own life form after a while. And this being was like part energy, part going kind of into the realm of solid, just a little bit. And other fairies, like the classic little fairies, like you see with Disney and all of that. Talk about reference there. The little they're called Aluzi fairies, where they went from an energy form into more, but they're trying to go into more of a solid form like us, and to kind of morph, energetically into that blood and bone form. And this being said, her origins were millions of years ago, where those energies coalesced, and then they were able to become so the different elements were able to become different beings. And then she said primarily that they were spoken about in Scandinavian mythology. And she called herself Liv, Liv. And I looked, and it basically was not only a word of protection, but it's what became the word to live or life after a while, or life force. And essentially water, life force, so that's where that translation came from. I look up the etymologies of words now more so when beings give me a name, then I know if I'm being tricked or not. So it's like I look into the words to see if they're saying like a negative being came in and tried to say they came from a certain world or something like that. I looked up the etymology of the word, and it's essentially I was being tricked. So so I basically get out of my face, they will tell you right off the bat if they're tricking you, but they'll use some weird word etymology and stuff like that. So you look up that, and you can tell immediately if there's something wrong. But if you look up the history behind something, they might use a word you're unfamiliar with in a different language, and you look it up and you see what it means. It's like, oh yeah, you're lying. Get out of my face. So it's like, but they have to tell you they're doing it. So it's, but this one was good. I could tell it was right off the bat. It was very good. And a lot of elemental things this Christmas season are going on, leading up to this solstice and everything. A lot of elemental changes taking place. A lot of elemental beings coming forward, both good and bad. But we've had bad ones too. Whereas they tried to disrupt things. We had a group of fairy-like beings that were trying to disrupt things here, and then I came in contact with this good elemental being. Another one was one that was made of fire and earth. He was somebody named Borm, He was made of fire and earth, and he looked like a tree, being that had like a fiery like core and everything. Some people would associate that with demons, but it was anything but. And it was the church that took it and took fire and made it like the devil, because the Draco reptilians that exist in the earth exist near lava tubes, and sulfur demons, and that's where that came from. But fire, real true fire element, is anything but, and it's an extremely powerful, potent thing to use around the solstice, burning candles, burning sages, burning frankincense and myrrh, amber, all of these things. It's actually incredibly potent, returning to the elemental and the pagan way of doing things. It's basically all the lies surrounding Christmas are starting to fade away, and it's returning back to its pre-Saturnalia origin type of things, where it's going back to more of an earth-based religious type time. So I've noticed that it's all the lies and stuff. It seems even some of the commercialization, it's increasing, but it's also separating from the true meaning. It's becoming this commercial side, like Black Friday is for Thanksgiving. It's separating from the real thing. It's becoming two things now. So you have the commercial side, and then you have the other side, which is the more pagan and elemental end of this. And that's a pattern I've been seeing, where there's this bifurcation taking place with it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've just been watching these patterns take place. And the elemental side is far more fruitful when you're going into anything about Christmas. And even saying the word Christmas, sometimes you start to gag a little, but at the same time, but at the same time, you say solstice, the solstice time, and this high energetic time that's taking place, even though the energies are very chaotic right now, it seems to be reverting back to a more nature elemental state, where people need to be anyway, to be away from all the chaos.
Everybody's disconnected. Everybody, even me.
Oh yeah. I've been heavily disconnected. I've noticed there has been this concerted effort this season to separate us from Earth. Yeah. This
last year, I've been nothing but injured and sick and.
Me too. Yeah.
And I'm not saying pity party me, bullcrap.
No. I don't.
What the hell? But then time's still gone by so quick.
And it's everything's accelerating and speeding up.
I'm gonna be 90 before I know it.
Right? Yeah. I hope I'm not 90 before I know it.
I know I will be. You want to know how I know I will be? Because my first 30 Christmases have gone by like that, so I know my next 60 Christmases, the first third's gone by like that, so I know the next 2/3 are going to go by like that. And I'm going to be nothing but an old bag of meaty bones about 60 Christmases from now, if I'm still alive.
Yeah, I
know. By that time, there'll probably be the Ozimlinangiliciloti Omicron Delta Salipicitis variant, and you only have like your 18th times 10 plus 7 minus 5 booster shot, whatever scientific information that is that they make up. Here's 3 graphs. This graph's this high. Let's see the 3 graphs. This is this vaccine rate, this vaccine rate. See these 3 little colorful graphs? This is the scientific
the shape of a pitchfork. Yeah.
This is the scientific information. Go get your shot. Go get your shot, you fool.
Yeah, that seems to be the spirit of the Christmas season at the moment is the vaccine.
Yeah. Santa's little gift to everybody this year. Here. Stick that in you.
Yeah, and they're already I found out that from what I was told, that they were going to go through 2 more things, like before they did the Omicron thing, they were going to go through 2 more things, and then it was going to start to fizzle out, and they were going to try to turn it into something else at that point. But it was like, and I think then one of the next letters after that is Omega. So can you imagine the Omega variant? So it's like,
Omega. Here, introducing this year. Fauci Claus. He's coming for you. He's coming.
Fauci Club. I like that. Yeah, Fauci Club. Yeah. Anytime I see that man's face, I just want to just go because
Yeah, for being the number one expert, innocent playing the innocent old man, attacking.
exactly. Pope Fauci, Christmas time,
Yeah, kind of like Warren Buffett, I just success. You can learn from these people. I don't know whether you learn manipulation or deception.
Yeah, see, this is why it's so important
but I'm not like judging the way a person lives his life or whatnot, but I've heard and I know that's kind of true. I'm sure it's not the only thing that he owns, but they plays a front. Apparently Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, lives in the same little old house. He drives the same little old 1990 car. I just calm the hell on. I have all that money. I'm buying and everything that I can buy. His real estate company does, so he's doing it. I don't know the front though that comes on it. I only own 3 sets of clothes. You gotta go to the soup kitchens to get a free sandwich and a free meal. See, Chris, I found out how to make a lot of money. I don't spend any money on groceries. I, go get free meals at all the soup kitchens, even though I don't need to go to all those places, and take advantage of the system and just start living off other people. I mean, that's exactly what you do. You start living off other people.
Yeah, basically.
I'm the idiot for working myself to death.
I know, right? Yeah, I know.
Wait, sorry. Pride.
Lord. Yeah, see, with stuff like this, it is
Take pride this Christmas season.
It's so easy to get enthralled in a lot of this and just focus on some of these people, like Fauci and them, and it's funny to do, it's good people are focusing on this, but to basically step back from this and see all the sides involved and just kind of step back and watch these people kind of eat each other,
Here's the proof, here's what the graphs have to say. You see these 3 little graphs? Look, here's how the vaccines will help you. This is how many people got the virus that aren't vaccinated. These are the people that are in the hospitals that aren't vaccinated. And these people are the ones that aren't vaccinated. That's how the shot will help you.
Yeah, I know.
Excuse me? Did anybody listening just make sense out of that? You're probably scratching your heads right now.
See, that's the thing. What they'll do is I can find out what these politicians will do is they'll say a bunch of nonsensical crap that sounds like it would make sense, but it does not. And it's like they'll put it together thinking that people go, oh, yeah, this leads to A, B, C, D, F, G. It's like, no, it's gibberish.
You don't have to call me a basset hound to sniff out a bunch of bullshit, but that's a bunch of bullshit if I ain't never smelled it, and you can smell it from, I don't know, across the ocean away. You see this virtual world behind us? Let's go from one side of it, from one horizon to the other horizon. You can probably smell it that far away. It's so thick.
Exactly.
Everybody remember watching Jurassic Park and seeing that big pile of shit?
Yeah, I've had that phrase. I've heard that phrase on Facebook a number of times. That's one big pile of shit.
What was in your stocking this year? A big pile of shit.
That's essentially what it is, and also people joke, that they're going to get cold, but that's also one of the things. Ironically, that's one of the things you want to keep different disease and different viruses and stuff away. And also shungite is a form of cold, so you want that too. So
that shungite's pretty good stuff too. That's about as dark as can be.
And also, ironically, the church associated this is something people don't know too much. The church associated the 666 number, the mark of the beast. They took that. And that's one of the atomic numbers of shungite itself. So they took it and they tried to make people say, "Oh no, this is evil. Anything associated, this is evil."
Well, I was just gonna say. I was just thinking. I'd like to do if I had a white T-shirt, maybe try making a natural dye out of it, and then dye.
Oh, you can. Yeah.
That would be
you
cool.
Can. Yeah.
I might have to do that. Some that vial that you sent me.
Yeah, what you can do.
That way you can wear it. You can almost wear the shungite that way.
Well, that's the thing. That's where it came from was Russia. And what they did after Chernobyl is they wove it into the Russian military uniforms to protect them from the radiation. And
Hmm.
after Chernobyl exploded, and it wasn't a public thing at that time. And then later on, they delegated it to the regular private sector, and then people got on board with it after a while for purifying water and for purifying energy and everything, land and all that. But it protects against the Wi-Fi and the 5G radiation. And this that's so it's good to actually put it as a form of dye and cloth and lock it in because it'll protect you. It's like an EMF blanket. It's essentially the same thing. You take a regular T-shirt and then dye it in there. Candles, you do the same thing. We make the waxes with it. Does the same thing where you can make an orgone piece essentially out of wax, of the shungite beeswax, and it has to be beeswax. You can, like the skull I gave you for instance. It's a mixture of paraffin and beeswax with the shungite in it, but it seems to kind of also bridge together the synthetic and the natural worlds as well. And it seems to, if you put that together, and it seems to add itself into those worlds, because shungite can link to itself no matter where it is. I know we kind of trailed off here, but it seems to be all linked together. It seems to be all linked into one story.
I wouldn't call it trailing off.
It's all linked together.
It's all interconnected. Yeah.
It's all interconnected. Yeah. And
but speaking of the devil, we would I guess I said that in every sense of the world. Perfect timing with properties of shungite. Speaking of the devil, let's talk about a winter story that happened in 1855. We'll pop this in right here, right now. It's a story called The Devil's Footprints. All right. Many of you may have already heard about this, but it was a very strange story by a supposed strange beast. These horseshoe cloven footprints were found scattered all over the place in villages, on the side of houses, on rooftops, 12 feet apart, 16 feet apart, randomizations through the trees, just scatter effect of these horseshoe imprints. And people thought it may have been a cloven goat footed demon spawn of some sort. But something strange happened on the cold night of 8th of February, 1855, around estuary in Devon, England. That winter was extremely cold, and according to reports of the times, temperatures remained around freezing from January until March. And historically, that time was like apparently one of the coldest that area had ever up to that point, supposedly. So a very brutal winter for all these people that were living back in that area, in those areas at that time. Just a brutal winter. So this event happened with everybody knows how brutal cold snow is, unless if you live somewhere where you're soaking up the sun all the time. I'd be half naked all the time, probably.
Yeah, like Arizona. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But the cold days, bitter cold days with snow, they're just fresh, snappy snow. So these tracks would have been amazing to see that day. These extreme weather conditions were the perfect. Oh, right there. These extreme weather conditions were the perfect setup for these strange events of that night. That just goes to show you right there. Illustration of the demon called Björ. He has the head of a lion and 5 goat legs surrounding his body to walk in every direction. Now, how about that for a strange looking beast?
Yeah, that's interesting where they do the 5 legs, because that's like the 5-pointed star of the pentacle, essentially, yeah.
I bet you this demons, you're not welcome in my life or anybody's life for that message that's listening to this. But look at this guy. I bet you his favorite slogan is "I'm gonna kick your ass."
Yeah, with the 5 legs, though, I can definitely see where that's. I think what they did was they associated it with what they saw as a 5-pointed star, because some people can't tell the difference between the pentacle and the pentagram, the upside down, the right side up.
May this demon here, he's a butty Brett. If it happened in Devon, England, he a butty Brett, and he said, "I'm gonna hit his ass." This demon said, "I'm gonna kick his ass." But according to the few witnesses' accounts from that time, after a heavy snowfall on the night of 8th of February, 1855, so just after Christmas time, winter time, cold, brutal, time of year, mysterious hoof marks appeared all over South and East Devon. The hoof marks were reported to be around 4 inches long, 3 inches across, between 8 and 16 inches apart, mostly in a single file. Reports about these footprints came from around 30 different locations in Devon. The combined footprints had a reported length of between 40 and 100 miles over the course of a night. What the hell could do that in 1855? It seemed like the creature that left the traces could overcome any obstacle. Footprints were found over houses, frozen rivers, haystacks, snow-covered roofs, high walls, and also inside drain pipes. Here's a part of one news report that describes the event. That's what we started with. It appears after Thursday night, there was a heavy snowfall in the neighborhood of Exeter and south of Devon. On the following morning, the inhabitants of the above towns were surprised at discovering the footmarks of some strange and mysterious animal endowed with the power of ubiquity, as the footprints were to be seen in all kinds of unaccountable places, on the tops of houses and narrow walls, and in gardens and courtyards, enclosed by high walls and palings, as well as in open fields. And it was this scatter effect, just like you're seeing if you're watching on screen right now. Horseshoe imprints scattered throughout on all those locations. Footprints appeared over a huge area from Exmouth up to Topsham and across Ex estuary to Dawlish and Tigmouth. Some reports also claimed the prints appeared even further south to Totnes and Torquay, as far away as Weymouth or Dorset in Lincolnshire. First-hand evidence of this event is rare. The first-hand written accounts of this phenomenon appeared in 1950, after a collection of the documents belonging to Reverend H.T. Ellacombe, the vicar of the Christ of St. George in the 1850s, was discovered. These documents included his personal letters, some tracings of the footprints, and latter to the illustrated London, marketed not for publication. Here's part of that letter. Excuse me. The marks which appeared on the snow, which lay very thinly on the ground at that time, and which were seen on Friday morning, to all appearances, were the perfect impression of a donkey's hoof, the length 4 inches by 2 3/4 inches. But instead of progressing as that animal would have done, or indeed as any other would have done, feet right and left, it appeared that the foot had followed foot in a single line. So it was, one in front of the other, and that, what steps like that, that's why they thought it might have been like a rotating wheel of a.
That's what I was saying in my head, was like a
like that demon just rotating like a little wheel, and so that's kind of strange. It appeared that the foot had followed foot in a single line, the distance from each tread being 8 inches or rather more. The footmarks, every parish being exactly the same size and the steps the same length. So that throws a lot of what could this be in 1855,
with a straight line like that.
Yeah, it's strange. The footprints were soon named Devil's Footprints, or Tracks of Satan, because of their shape and resemblance. See how we're interconnected now?
Yeah, what I find interesting about this, you said it was on rooftops and all this other stuff. It's like somebody was taking an etheric stamp and just kind of going, "We'll just do it here to creep people out," and then go.
Oh yeah, get these people's attention on a cold night.
Yeah,
or cold morning.
I felt the emotion I felt behind it was like, okay, we'll see how many people we can scare with this. That's kind of like what I picked it up. I felt it was like more than one. And it was like, and with, if people saw that rotating like that, with the 5 legs also, what I feel is that this also could have been something gazing through a portal doing this too, with either high technology or with like a large amount of magical capability. And they were rotating it through like an energy wheel that way, and the
Very
fact
well
that it didn't leave any tracks.
Strange.
Very
well could be something strange like that.
I know that a certain number.
And that area in general, that area spawns a lot of mysterious, things that could happen.
Well, it could only be a certain number of things, but it would have to be a way that they'd have to put the energy imprint like they do with crop circles, a way it does this. It would have to be done like in a way energetically, either with high technology, with like an alien messing around, or it would have to be like a high amount of like magical type capability, or one and the same, where they went around and they were just messing with the people of the area in that way. It could be an Agarthan group, it could be an alien group, but the way they were describing it is with the lion face. Lion face is associated with a specific alien group that would be Lyran or cat type people as well. And some demon forms I've noticed will take a lion or griffin-like form as well. Like certain mimicking demons will take a lion like griffin-like form as well. And there's also bad cat people that will also mess with people in that exact way. They're basically essentially almost like a pirate mentality, where they'll go around and kind of screw with people. There's some that are like that. So I'm thinking it could be any of these groups that mess with people at that point. So there's a variety of different things they could have been seeing, but I think it could be also all of the above, especially given the history of the area. So.
Well, and that's basically in itself, you know, and it got that name because of the shape or resemblance to a cloven hoof. Some people started to really believe that the devil himself made the footprints. People were scared for some time, you know, like you're saying, really way to get attention, you know, and scare the hell out of people. The time after the event and avoided venturing outside after midnight. I think looking at the history for months, these people, you know, many people were afraid that the devil was really marching around their neighborhood. There's the hooves of a roe deer. So there's been a variety of different theories, like this is stating, like we're talking right there. One recent study on the subject by Mike Dashnoble, a Welsh writer, historian, researcher, claims that there was no single source of footprints. So he thinks that a lot of people, that it might have been mass hysteria, people thought. A lot of people said wood mice, quadrupeds such as donkeys and ponies were at blame. Still, at the end of his study, Dash admits that not all the marks can be explained and allows for this mystery to continue. So there's other theories like this. British novelist Geoffrey Household, he had different idea about the traces. He believed that an experimental balloon was mistakenly released by the Devonport dockyard, which I personally agree with. I think possibly could have been this at fault back then. I just looking at history and the way people were talking, and some true and fantasy stories that intermix, you know, the legend kind of go towards that I've heard throughout my life and of recent. But I think it could be this possibly. I don't know, you know, who's to say. I wish I could build Da Vinci's time machine that we talked about and go back in time, but I don't have a journal and work notes. Household claimed that this was a true event about which he heard from a man called Major Carter, whose grandfather had worked at Devonport at the time. According to Carter, this incident had been covered up because the balloon damaged a few greenhouses and windows before it finally went down somewhere close to Honiton. Another theory from July 1855 suggests that the traces were made by groups of hungry badgers awake and searching for food. So I don't know, hungry badgers, ravenous beasts, you know, running around late in the night. I don't know if that's to blame.
No. Also, we were going back to elementals. Now, elementals could pull off stuff like this.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
What would be your elemental creature belief?
Well, there's many types of elementals. There's even cloven hoof, like goat type of beings.
Which one would that be?
That would be like like a satyr type of, where you see the being looks like almost like a deer or a goat type of being, and they do have antlers and horns, and there are negative and positive versions of these. Whereas they will mess with people and scare people, like they can literally point at somebody and they'll have a leg broken or something like that. They'll trip and fall or do something like that. And these types of beings will leave cloven hoof footprints. And if those types of beings wanted to mess with people, they could kind of walk in a straight line and do stuff like that. They could cause a lot of accidents. Satyrs, negative satyrs, have been known to do a lot of damage. I've come across them very rarely. But there's also a story of someone who saw one in a park that actually was pointing at people, and people were tripping and falling and hurt themselves and stuff like that. And that being was, he could see this being was physical, and this being didn't know he could be seen. That's what the energies are doing. They're revealing a lot of these darker sources. And he threw this being into a nearby waterway, and it disappeared. He grabbed it and threw it. And but that's also was also be to blame for trying to scare the crap out of people. Are these some of these goat-like satyr beings? There's good ones that people call goat splotches, and then there are ones that are satyr, like thinner goat-faced or deer-faced, like ones that have both the cloven hoof and sometimes the split cloven hoof, like deer feet. And we called them the Fame for a little while, but I believe they had multiple names. They're from underground, and they're interdimensional beings as well, and they're in a different frequency. They've caused quite a bit of problems. That's where some of the satanic religion got the face of the goat from, and that's where that came from.
It looked kind of creepy. I just browsed on my phone real quick. It looks like a creepy looking.
Yeah, I've seen those beings before. They have like a goat appearance to them. They can't all be trusted. They're very much, they fall into the demon category. And there's the positive ones that are like the goat splotches, where they were like a goat type being that evolved into a bigger life form. But then you have the etherical dimensional type ones that are the satyrs, and those are dangerous beings actually. So.
Interesting.
Dark wizardry and stuff like that around.
No characters that I want to mess with.
No, I've run across a whole array of demon types. That unfortunately was one of them too. So
no thanks.
Yeah, they're pretty nasty actually. They will cause an array of accidents to happen. Like any negative demon being, they'll cause a series of unfortunate events that lead up to you get really hurt. But the satyrs will do it in a quicker fashion. They'll go, okay, we're gonna have him fall and break his leg. Right, and that's how they started out as. It's
that's
like
probably the one that follows me around all the time.
Oh, yeah, if you're having a series of accidents and stuff like that, those beings will. Those beings will be part of it.
Yeah. But just to finish this up, like it says here, with this strange mystery, I've always found this very fascinating, and I don't know what the true reasoning is, but whatever the truth may be, this event was probably a really strange sight for those people 161 years ago, and it still captivates our imagination today. To me, that if I was living in that area and I put myself in their shoes and I woke up in the morning, I would know that I'd be on the trail of it and I'd be seeing what the hell this is all about. I'd be intrigued as hell.
Oh, I'd be looking for it myself.
Oh yeah, it'd be fun as hell. Can you imagine? Yeah, too bad, it's unfortunate. I'd like to do it with you, go start going to all these cool sites, but being away,
Yeah, we're so far apart, Arizona and Nebraska. So yeah,
I'd like to start filming some of these different locations. I'm looking at getting and speaking of Christmas present for myself, here coming up into the new year. I think I'm gonna wait until springtime to buy it. But my Christmas present for the new year for myself is going to be, I'm going to go get a new metal detector. And I wouldn't mind getting a nice little radiation reader of some sort. And my first stop, I'd like to start going to some infamous locations next year and just doing a live session. And that way people can see these cool areas and we can do some live investigative work at certain locations. I'd like to go to first stop for me. It would be the Ashland area where the supposed Herb Shermer UFO incident happened. That's just about 45 minutes away in Ashland, Nebraska. And I know I can probably find the exact location where his sighting was if I do a little bit of investigative work. But we'll have to talk about that episode. Maybe some UFO. We'll do an episode with UFO incident reports, and we'll talk about
go through stuff about those
reports. Something along that nature, and we'll go into detail with some and describe some here. Maybe that could be a good New Year's episode.
That'd be a great New Year's episode. To have something on the different UFO.
After all, we also have something else here at the end of the show too that I want to do. And speaking of New Year's, in fact, we got about 15 minutes left, so maybe we'll do it here in about 5 minutes already. new everybody's predictions for the New Year's. Whatever your predictions are, comment them what you believe will happen. Use your intuition, your psychic abilities. Every year when I was running Conspiracy Sector on Facebook more often, I'd always do yearly predictions. I haven't been running it for the past 2 years. That's why I'm quiet on Facebook, just because it doesn't let me do anything. I'm searching for a new form of free form media, that lets you express yourself. Express yourself.
Yeah, something that's free of cabal influence, all
Yeah,
that
exactly.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that'd be fun though, getting into that sort of stuff and maybe doing some investigative work, because who knows what the hell you might find. You won't find anything if you don't go looking. And
Yeah, and
if
to
you
get
don't
back in
go
the
looking,
field
you'll
would be
never
good.
find.
And to get back in the field, I've wanted to get back in the field doing that for some time now. So yeah.
I know it's been a bit, our little shebang. That was fun though when we got to do Governor Hunt's tomb here this past year. That was probably one of the highlights of the last year for me.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed that, even though it was short.
Nice sights. That's a guy. He picked a good area to build his tomb. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Yeah, definitely. If you have any predictions for the next year, we'd like to hear it. That
Yeah,
I've been
hell
trying to
yeah.
come up with predictions myself. I'll do like a recording, like a little mini recording, and if the thing comes true, I post it on something.
Nice.
I'll do that too, where what I'm picking up on, like on the energy waves and everything. So yeah.
I really feel as if, and I don't know if this can maybe call it predictability, but my predictions for the year, well, I have a few, and it can be whatever you want it to be and whatever predictions you feel that you have. I really feel when it comes to the UFO field, we're going to start having a lot more UFO encounters. The information is going to be a little less softly released. I think it'll be a little more hardcorely released and get us more adapted to, the fact that we're probably not alone. I think so. I think there could be a high UFO activity and information and whatnot. Just that genre and that field could be more of a major topic this next year, and could be high in activity. I also believe that there's going to be a lot of continuation of conflict, especially in America, but worldwide. Not just because of the virus and all that, but everything. It seems like the pot is overboiling. The water is not just overboiling, it's evaporating at the same time, and it's running dry. And it's hot and running dry. And we're all swimming in that water that's running dry and boiling us at the same time.
Exactly. That's how
So
the energies feel.
get it in
That
gear, everybody. Santa Claus and his elves say get it in gear, or else we'll come kidnap you and take you up to the North Pole, and nobody will ever find you again.
In this case, Santa.
You'll become a slave factory worker at the North Pole, making
In this
toys
case,
for all the
Santa
children.
in this case, Santa and Krampus are working together in that way. Yeah.
Yep. Krampus is enforcing the slave labor, and Santa Claus is the headmaster. So, he's the one at play. We got to get these children toys.
Well, one of the funnier things that happened on an episode of American Dad one time is where the main character finds out that you see Krampus and Santa Claus in the same room, and Santa is going, "Haven't you figured out by now? I'm the bad guy."
No doubt.
And I thought that was hilarious. That was probably more profound than I gave it credit for at the time. But it was, but yeah, the energies this year, also prediction wise, all over UFO predictions. Yeah, I see that coming true. I definitely see that coming true because the government's trying to spin their own narrative. This is why people can't allow them to spin their own narrative. They have to come up with how they want to see the Earth. They want to see disclosure. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a crazy world, and I don't know. I don't want to feel like I'm predicting this just because I've seen 2 UFOs recently, like we talked about in the previous episodes. But I just feel like it's in the air and the water and everywhere. Not just because of my sightings and millions of other people, not just me. Many people see these things. UAPs, UFOs, ZYX, CBA, whatever
What the hell you want to call them?
letter terminology you want to come up with,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel that, and then just basically, I feel like there's going to be even thicker device, even manipulation tactics at play,
Yep.
to lower us all down and kill us all and make us hate our lives even more, and yeah, mask it over, with things like masks and fancy words and false promises and la di da di da, pretend there's sunshines and rainbows and everything to be okay. Yeah, la da da di da da da, fantasy world type crap.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like there's going to be divisive manipulation, deceptive tactics at play, which that's always going to happen. But I feel like it's going to be thicker and more aware. You're going to be paying a lot more and doing a lot more for and getting a lot less in return. I guess if I could sum it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not all doom and gloom, but yeah, I believe you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mad Max like world or Terminator like world. Which one do you want to live in?
That's funny. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's also the point to show where I can try to bring somebody through in this energy. Let's see.
Yeah, you might as well. Yeah,
Uh,
go ahead.
let's see. Yeah, yesterday was a royal pain in the ass before our Galactic Interstellar Council episode. Like, it was only like a few hours before where I managed to get a hold of somebody. That's how chaotic the energies were yesterday morning. So it was like all the way up to about almost noon, and it was pretty ugly. But I managed to get a hold of somebody for doing the 3-hour show yesterday. But this, I'm feeling a lot of backing here, a lot of good backing today. It's a little calmer, but there's also somebody out there doesn't like the choice of topics, so it's like so this is let's see. At first I thought I was picking up Liv, the elf or the fairy that I was talking to yesterday. Okay, I got to make sure that this is something good so I don't screw my energy up here. So, 'cause if you accidentally bring in something bad, your whole day's fucked up at that point. So it's like I would probably spend the next 2 days trying to shake it off. So it's like so I got to be extremely anal retentive. So let's see here. Okay, the energy's fairly high and from who this is. So I'm also picking up from the technology, the computers, and everything. It's just that makes it a little
Chaotic.
confusing. Yeah, chaotic too. Like I get it from like the people's Wi-Fi's and stuff like that too. So all right, let's see. Okay. Yeah, all right, this one's legit. All right. I have to be extremely careful. So okay. Oh, I gotta pull my hat off for that one. Yeah, new hat I got. I had to get a new one.
Nice.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, look, got a buzz cut.
Yeah, but you can tell where some of the scalar and everything has caused me to lose hair in places.
No,
From all the like the from the 5G and scalaring and do weaponry and stuff like that is causing this. So let's see.
Everything.
All the energies and stuff doing it. So okay, Liv, is that you or am I talking to somebody else here? Okay. Yeah, okay, it is you. I can definitely see. Isaac, can you confirm, please? And there's more of them. Okay, but there's ones out here I don't like. There's ones that I'm very skeptical about their intentions. There's a group of beings out here I'm not too keen on, but that they're kind of creeping in a little closer. Like when we did the Krampus episode, the next morning after that, I was seeing these Krampus cloven hoof like elf looking beings that were kind of hanging around the house after that.
Creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy. You could see them, you could see through them and everything, and they had like red eyes and everything. I was going, no, so there was a group of them trying to mess with us mentally, so I got to make for damn sure that's not what's happening here. Isaac, how about I just have you come through because this is I'm not liking this environment here. There was another legitimate voice I was hearing, but this over here I'm not too happy about. So I'm going to if I could describe what I'm looking at, I was seeing these like black cloaked figures with that have like these pointy chins and have like these dimpled like inside eyes and stuff like that. I'm not keen on them. That's more demonic, so I'm just gonna get rid of them real fast. Yeah, don't like them. So Isaac, why don't we just have you? So all right.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm going to get his edifice. Ironically, this is his edifice here. You can't see it.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah. Ironically, that's his. Yeah.
Doggies are scratching on the wall.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear them. Okay, Isaac, let's do this then. We're coming up on the hour here, so. Yes, I know. Let's see. Yes, he was smart to not trust the external sources that were outside here. They do not like the choice of topic because of the fact that in this time of year, talking about the different aspects of Christmas is not something they want to do. It takes away from their narrative of how they want people to actually focus on just one aspect and not the good aspects of Christmas, even though he himself here distrusted Christmas because of its nefarious fractalized origins. It does not necessarily mean that good things cannot occur, you see, and good things cannot come about in these chaotic energies and these chaotic times. All that was spoken about today is actually true. The being that you were speaking about with the cloven hooves in the one line, that what he suspected was actually
Viewer.
The viewer, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, what he was suspecting was true. It was actually dimensional contact that was taking place of beings that were attempting to mess with the local population to rile them up. So this was actually true. With that five-legged being, what people were seeing was a manipulation of dimension, light, sound, and holography a little bit. But if the people saw the real beings that were coming through, they would probably not look too different than what people were seeing there. I'm just saying ugly is what I'm saying in this. And knowing that they can hear me from a great distance away, I can call them ugly. But in this, they cannot do too much about it because certain things cannot occur like it could back in the 1800s because the energy was vastly different. In this, I know that you're going for a shorter time frame, so I will go into question.
Yes. How about why, when it comes to the holiday season and Christmas, why is there so many legends and demons and lore and things associated with almost disciplinary actions towards children during this time, kind of like Krampus, evil Krampus, keep you in line, seems like there's so many that have like a disciplinary action during the holiday season.
This is actually quite an interesting question because you are seeing some of the more nefarious origins of that particular holiday season. Plus, there were people in those times that believed that disciplinary actions would lead to greater and more wonderful things. You see, they believed if they did not spare the rod, they would be spoiling the child. You see. And they would add in more disciplinary action so that the kids saw that they were more worthy of the presents. This is not something that needs to be done, mind you, but this is why there are so many disciplinary actions in there. If, say, you punished over here, you would get a reward over here. And this was something that was meant to actually divide the population, not discipline the population. This was meant to divide a population between not only what the meaning of Christmas meant, as I was saying before, but divide along mental lines like worthy and unworthy. This is how this was being viewed. Like some kids got Christmas presents such as wonderful toys and things, and others got coal. It was a have and a have not. This is what was actually being depicted.
Nice. I when it comes to the holiday season and with all those divisive tactics, it seems like there's a lot of like demonic associated lores and legends. And I know Krampus would be some of the ones we talk about, the viewer as well. Is there any other major like kind of demonic evil associated beings that we need to avoid during the holiday season? I know we need to all the time, but is there any holiday Christmas associated ones.
This is actually another interesting question because as you associate Halloween with the veil being thinner, as is more so the solstice time, whereas a higher amplification of either polarity of schools of thought can be applied here. Therefore, something can come through in a more easy way through conjuring, through manifestation, through personal manifestations of inner demons. Say you have some PTSD that then reflects outward. It can come back at you 100 times or more given this time of year and rain down on you very much like a poltergeist. Very much in haunting yourself and haunting your own home. This can happen any other time of the year, mind you, but at this time of year, it is extremely amplified. The negative Orion beings choose this time of year to draw out the most energy out of the energy farming that they've set up on Earth many thousands of years ago. They also genetic harvesters out there, such as other aliens, also take more materials during this time of year, starting from the Samhain time on, because of the building of the energies. They can come and go much easier. Some dimensional demonic beings can come and go much easier and wreak havoc at this time of year. It is not always associated with love and joy, you see. It is also the physics of the dimensional veils and the dimensional vortexes and portals that open this time of year. Your mind can literally conjure anything much easier with your imagination at this time of year. You could literally haunt yourself as you walk the earth. This is something to watch for, more mental manipulation that is taking place even now at this time of year, and the chaotic energetics. These are not the separate things they appear to be, you see. It is as time's going on, even though there's an amplification of the energies. The solstice time was not only a sacred time, but it was a time of caution as well. What you create can come back to bite you in the ass. So you must create within that balanced mindset and that balanced heart set and that groundedness, something that you take joy in, or something that you truly have a passion for in that creativity. So what you create can come back to bite you or come back to bless you. This is something that this pendulum swing that is happening even as we are speaking now.
Well, quite honestly, I think we're going to use that as a farewell message, because I was going to ask you what farewell message you want to give everybody going into the new year, but I think that summed it up pretty damn good. Honestly, all the information there. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yes, he himself was wondering what some of the heightened things were, and it's not only the time of year, but a lot of the chaotic energies and thought forms that are going on right now. This is why they are choosing right now to actually scare the crap out of everybody, because they know that it'll cause more chaos given this astrological time of year. So this is why I've said heed caution. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Boom.
Yeah. I could see that. I've noticed this where things that I'm thinking, there's usually a lag time between thought and manifestation, and I have noticed that I could get myself really going on a treadmill or a hamster wheel, more so than what people have been getting hit with. I've noticed that that it causes a greater amount of manifestations. Like if you're thinking something, or try to co-create something, it will take on a weird spin, or it will, if you're not in the right mindset, it will take you to a weird, creepy place that then manifests and come back at you. I've noticed some of these things happening more and more since Halloween, and normally that kind of happens anyway that these times of year, but this is more enhanced this year. Because of all that's going on. It's all been amplified through technology and everything too, in the dimensional energy fields. Like with the 5G, I've noticed that sometimes some of these antennas are tapping into a dimensional source as well. I've noticed dimensional portals between the antennae as well, where the Wi-Fi is crossing through a dimensional rift of some sort. So it's all interconnected. Technology and magic, all of it is interconnected. And so yeah, his saying heed caution is good, but always stay in that non-time of creativity where you're in that most creative mode, no matter what that creative pursuit is. So I think that's a good place that we can take it out. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Aubrey.
I think that's pretty good. I think going into the new year, I wish everybody a happy Christmas. Well, actually, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. or a happy Christmas and a Merry New Year, whichever way you want to look at it. I'll say Merry New Year and Happy Christmas, and hopefully you get something more than coal in your stocking. And I guess be aware and be smart, and have a good rest of this year, and go into the new year having a good one as well. We'll see everybody next year, and on the next episode. You are now leaving the conspiracy sector. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.